Results are in for the New Hampshire primary as Trump and Sanders finish on top.
Today marks the first day USC students can vote on in the USG elections.
And a vote today could bring big changes for Los Angeles homeless. The billion-dollar plan could be a step in ending the homeless crisis. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
The polls are now closed in New Hampshire, and the ballots are being counted after the first in-the-nation primary. And it looks to be a good night for two anti-establishment candidates. Good evening, I'm Taylor Edgell.
And I'm Ivana Nguyen. Reporter Max Schwartz is in the studio with the primary results for each candidate so far.
Thank you, Taylor and Ivana. All of the returns will be delivered to the Secretary of State's office tomorrow and counted then as well. But we already have the unofficial winners. The Republican race has been called for Donald Trump, who currently has 34%. John Kasich is in second with 16%, followed by Jeb Bush and Ted Cruz with 12% each. Then Marco Rubio with 10% and Chris Christie with 8%. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders has been called the winner, beating Hillary Clinton right now 58% to 48%. We'll have more results from the New Hampshire primary later in the newscast. Back to you, Taylor and Ivana.
Thanks, Max. Well, the Unruh Institute of Politics has brought some of the excitement of New Hampshire to campus. Allie Main is live from their watch party at Tommy's Place. Allie?
Thank you, Taylor. I'm live from Tommy's Place, where the Unruh Institute of Politics is hosting its New Hampshire primary watch party. Most of the polls in the state closed 2 hours ago, and the results are coming in. Students have gathered to listen to a panel of experts, including political consultant Bob Schrum, analyze the results of the primary and give their thoughts on the 2016 election season. Although some students are at the event to receive class credit, others are here out of personal political interest.
Well, it was kind of slated that he'd win New Hampshire, given that it's next to Vermont, his home state. It's more of his demographic of white liberals. And that as contrast, like the crowd that Hillary tends to support, which is more Iowa-centric, I guess. But I think that if anything, this shows a lot of momentum for Bernie's campaign, and that, and I guess positive things. It's hard to say because if caucus is split one way or the other, but these are just indicators. So, I think Bernie has the more support and momentum behind his campaign, though.
Now that Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are the reported winners of tonight's primary, the panelists are talking about what this means for the future of the party nominations. South Carolina will be the next state to choose its delegates later this month. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Allie. Well, one of the biggest deciding factors in tonight's New Hampshire primary is voter turnout, especially among young people. Annenberg Media's Cole Sullivan reports on the impact of this millennial vote.
They've got cars running every 10 minutes, and there's been a line waiting to get a ride since I woke up this morning.
Zachary Schnell is a sophomore at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire. He's expecting a high turnout among his fellow students.
It definitely feels like we're going to get well over 500, if not closer to 1,000 people to the polls, which would be great.
Schnell says there seems to be a clear favorite.
Bernie. I think Bernie has had a way of really touching the minds and imaginations of our generation.
Experts say young people made a difference for Senator Sanders in Iowa.
About 84-85% of the vote of millennials, and really the millennial generation was the group that was responsible for him being able to tie Secretary Clinton.
And while the vote today is in New Hampshire, thousands of miles away, here at sunny USC, students say they're largely supporting Bernie Sanders as well.
I've been following the election very closely. Ultimately, Bernie just is provides most policies that I agree with my own.
He really has the ability to unite people who otherwise wouldn't vote, and I think that's really, really important.
Meanwhile, on the Republican side, analysts say millennials aren't voting that differently from other age groups.
No one candidate in Iowa on the Republican side really dominated the picture.
Turnout is expected to be high among all voters tonight in New Hampshire. It's still too early to tell how the millennial vote will impact future races. For Annenberg Media, I'm Cole Sullivan.
Here at USC, students just have 2 more days to decide who will be their next undergraduate student leaders. ATVN's Kay Ingram spoke with students to see how students are getting their vote on.
Voting? Yes. I love that. One by one, students lined up this morning at Tommy Trojan to cast their vote for undergraduate student elections.
I'm actually really excited. I have a friend running for vice president, and then I have a few other people that I know for Senate.
It was an especially exciting day for students like freshman Jade Mickens.
I just turned 18 in October, so this will be my first election, so the presidential election, and then this election.
Some got an early start online, submitting their votes as early as midnight. Just hours after candidates Saucedo Dunn and Enriquez, bam, debated in the campus center.
Well, I saw the link on Facebook and I thought to myself, this will take 5 seconds, so I did it.
Some students say they don't feel caught up on the race, at least not at USC.
Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump.
Can you name at least 3 people running for USG student body president?
I cannot. You got me.
For students looking for more information about this year's elections, voting stations like this one behind me are set up all throughout campus. But with less than half of the student body voting last year, some wonder if USG's efforts are enough.
This year, the candidates are much more laid back in a sense, and they aren't quite as competitive as years past. So I would say that also probably adds to what you see in lack of knowledge about candidates.
Some say it could also be that USG shortened campaigning to just a week. For students who want to choose their next leaders, they'll have until Thursday at midnight to cast their vote. Kay Ingram, Annenberg TV News.
Today, the Los Angeles City Council unanimously approved new plans to end homelessness in the city. Reporters Madison Keevy went downtown to find out what this means for Angelenos.
There are more than 40,000 homeless people in LA, and that number is on the rise. Today, the City Council pledged $1.8 billion to combat the problem.
The incredible challenges that confront this city, this state, and this nation with respect to homelessness. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, we simply need more housing.
The money will be spent over the next 10 years. $35 million will go toward building housing, with an additional $9.6 million allotted for foster youth and children. $43 million will go to support services such as rental subsidies, mental health care, and transitional housing. The rest will go to outreach workers and other items. The county also unanimously approved their own set of plans to address this growing issue, a move many community leaders applauded.
Momentum and the coordination between the city and county is really crucial for making this initiative. 2 unanimous votes on the same day about this issue, that the political will is there.
Some skeptics criticize the lack of detail in the proposal.
When you say homelessness is different people who are homeless, but it appears that they're just lumping us all into one category, and that's very dangerous. That's building homes is one step in the right direction, but it has to come with many services included.
It's still unclear how the plan will be funded. For Annenberg Media, I'm Madison Keevy.
The mother of a 29-year-old homeless man who was shot and killed by police in Venice last May filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city today. The suit also names LAPD Police Chief Charlie Beck and the 2 LAPD officers who were involved in the shooting. Lawyers for Sharon Comproni also filed a federal suit alleging unreasonable use of deadly force in the shooting of her son, Brendan Glenn.
Look, if there's a video of someone shooting someone in the back lying on the ground, the police arrest that person on the spot and on the scene. No arrest has occurred here. The city of Los Angeles could arrest its officer for the wrongdoing that they see. They have chosen not to do so. They've put this off on the DA. So we're a long way away from the decision to prosecute. We're a long way from a guilty charge as well.
LAPD declined to comment on the pending lawsuits.
U.S. Intelligence Chief James Clapper says overseas Islamic militants and homegrown extremists are the most significant threats against the U.S. In his address to the Senate Armed Services Committee, Clapper warned of the growing risk.
ISIL's leaders are determined to strike the U.S. homeland, beyond inspiring homegrown violent extremist attacks. Although the U.S. is a much harder target than Europe, ISIL external operations will remain a critical factor in our threat assessments for 2016.
Clapper says Islamic militants will continue to threaten U.S. interests at home and overseas. He also expects cyber threats from China, Russia, and North Korea. President Obama introduced a record $4.1 trillion budget to Congress today. It included $19 billion to improve cybersecurity with $3 billion to overhaul federal computer systems.
Our IRS systems are archaic, as with a whole host of other agencies that are consistently collecting data on every American. If we're going to really secure those in a serious way, then we need to upgrade them.
The budget will include an initiative to increase funding for cancer research and treatment, increase federal Pell Grants by $2 billion for year-round students, and create incentives to boost individual retirement accounts. The $4.1 trillion budget does come with some setbacks, however. The plan will increase the national debt to a whopping $27.4 trillion over the next decade.
The Supreme Court voted to postpone the regulation of emissions from coal-fired power plants until legal challenges are resolved. Many states are challenging the plan rely on economic activity tied to various fossil fuels. The regulation is intended to reduce carbon dioxide emissions at existing power plants by about 1/3 by 2030. Wondering why you may have paid more for gas last year? A new report could have the answer.
And it's Fat Tuesday, guys, and Mardi Gras is in full swing. We'll take you to the streets of New Orleans.
Southern California heated up today. We'll be back with more on the record-breaking temperatures.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Doesn't see race. Love is love.
Hey, it's Ava, and this is Tess from Vivo's Do It Yourselfie, where we recreate the hottest looks from today's biggest music videos.
After cleaning out our closet, we have a lot of clothes we don't wear anymore.
Like this old t-shirt.
It's not garbage, it's actually a brand new rug.
And to make it, all you need to do is cut, tie, and glue.
Cut the t-shirt into strips.
Tie the strips into knots.
And glue the knots to the bath mat. I love it. Give your garbage another life.
And recycle.
A fire broke out on Hoover and 110th Street. At around 1 o'clock this afternoon, a house fire broke out on Hoover and 110th Street. Officials say there were no injuries and that the fire was an accident, though they still do not know the exact cause. The LAPD and fire department were able to respond to the fire within 15 minutes of being notified and had it extinguished within the hour. ExxonMobil is under scrutiny tonight after allegations the oil giant intentionally tried to keep gas prices high. Annenberg Media's Ryan Thompson has more on a new report from Consumer Watchdog.
Guys, we'll have the package for you in a second. Sorry about that. And stocks continued to fall today, with both the Dow and the Nasdaq closing in the red. The Dow Jones fell by 13 points to finish at 16,014. The Nasdaq index fell by 15 points to finish at 4,268. Non-tenure faculty at the University of California campuses could soon see higher wages and better job security. Faculty and the administration have reached a tentative agreement on a new contract. Under the new contract, lecturers will be evaluated after 3 years instead of 6. The union hopes this will provide better job security for lecturers who have not received continuing appointments. Faculty will vote on the contract at the end of the month.
Quite a difference in weather this week.
Yes, it's actually been so hot, Ivana. Well, let's check in with Jasmine Canford for the weather.
Yeah, hey
Hey guys, thank you. Well, it's definitely quite different than what we were feeling last week. We did kind of start to feel it heating up, but this week it is definitely hot. Let's go ahead and take a look at our current temperatures. We are 77 degrees, so it is pretty hot for right now. We're 17% humidity, so not too bad. It was a little bit drier, and the problem is that the winds are slowing down, 0 miles per hour. It hasn't been too windy, so it's quite dry. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weather throughout Southern California. Palm Springs, you're looking at 86, up in Big Bear 59, so it is kind of a little bit warmer for Big Bear as well. Down in Riverside 88, San Bernardino 86, so we are kind of looking at those mid 80s. Let's go ahead and move along our coast and see what it looks like over there. In Malibu, we are 78, so it is a little bit cooler down there, but still pretty warm for February especially. In Northridge 87, inside the valley 86, Simi Valley, so pretty hot in the valley, probably very dry. Stay hydrated. Let's go ahead and move on to our 5-day forecast. Friday 84, Thursday 85, so we do see it's kind of staying in those mid 80s, and as we move into our weekend, we see that it's 78, 82 by Sunday, so it is going to be hot this weekend. If you want to head on down to the beach this weekend, is probably a good time to do so. And we have had record-breaking heat today in Los Angeles. Feels like summer in February. Once again, we hit those temperatures. Let's see how students are handling it here. This is the second straight day here in LA where we have seen broken heat records. Temperatures are expected to remain high until the end of the week, so remember to use that sunscreen and stay hydrated. It has been hot.
It definitely has been. Yeah, I've been drinking so much water.
And I've been applying a lot of sunscreen.
Yeah, good. That's great. Stay safe, stay cool.
Thanks, Jasmine. Today in New Orleans, thousands of people assembled in the streets to celebrate Mardi Gras.
I am so excited I can't contain myself. What a beautiful day.
Okay. Attendees gather to eat, drink, and dance as they catch traditional beads from parade float riders. The celebration is expected to go well into the night. ExxonMobil is under scrutiny tonight after allegations the oil giant intentionally tried to keep gas prices high. Annenberg Media's Ryan Thompson has more on a new report from Consumer Watchdog.
For years, California drivers have complained about high gas prices.
We're spending over $100 a week. That's a lot of money.
I don't know why California prices are so high.
These drivers pay significantly more than anyone else in the United States. In 2015, AAA said gas prices in California were consistently $1 higher than the national average. At one point, some gas stations in the city sold gas for as high as $5.49 a gallon.
But this new report from Consumer Watchdog suggests that prices at the pump should never have been so high. It alleges that oil refiners rigged prices to maximize profits from California gas sales.
The 21-page report accuses ExxonMobil, Chevron, Valero, and other refineries of market rigging.
Oil refiners calibrated their imports and exports to artificially inflate the price of gasoline and make a killing.
Last year, an explosion at ExxonMobil's Torrance refinery left the plant offline for more than 7 months, reducing production from 800 million gallons to zero. The report says ExxonMobil purchased gasoline from other California refineries instead of resupplying the market with their own imports. Consumer Watchdog says ExxonMobil only imported 12 million gallons to make up for the loss and even let a large oil tanker sit idle for over 2 months.
Now, why is the state's largest refiner, when we know there are no imports coming in, sending its gasoline out of California?
ExxonMobil denies the allegations. In a statement to Annenberg Media, a spokesperson said the company is committed to the highest standards of business conduct and has operated responsibly and in strict compliance with all laws. The California State Energy Commission received the report Monday, but the commission's senior fuel specialist said the report needs to be scrutinized.
They showed a chart for that one facility saying, look, ExxonMobil didn't import hardly anything. It's like, well, you showed only gasoline imports on that one chart. You didn't show gasoline blending component import. So I thought that was a bit misleading.
The watchdog group isn't planning legal action. They just want more oversight.
There needs to be more sunshine in this market. We need to know when ships are going and coming. Imports and exports should be fully disclosed.
For Annenberg Media, I'm Ryan Thompson.
Well, we have some big news heading into NBA week about the Clippers.
So let's check out and check in with our sports anchor, Ty, to find out more about it.
Thank you very much, ladies. March Madness is...
March Madness is right around the corner. This weekend against the Arizona schools, the Trojans men's basketball team will have a chance to add to their resume. The Los Angeles Clippers made headlines suspending one of their star players right before the All-Star break. And the Los Angeles Rams are preparing for fans who purchase season tickets at the Coliseum. Stay with us, sports is next.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
This weekend, the NBA All-Star break tips off in Toronto. The last time the Los Angeles Clippers star forward Blake Griffin was north of the border, he was involved in an altercation with a member of the team's equipment staff, leaving Griffin with a broken hand. Today, the Clippers announced that Griffin, who was already sidelined during the incident recovering from shoulder surgery, will be suspended without pay for 4 games. Is there any good news stemming from the incident? It's the fact that his lost wages will be donated to various Los Angeles charities focused on disadvantaged youth.
I think that he deserved it, to be honest. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to punch someone who works for your organization and get away with it. If anything, it deserves to be more than 4 games.
It's not, like, very cool for him to be so aggressive with someone.
His attitude is not in the right place, and he's just not a clutch player, and I think Clippers need to kind of get rid of him eventually.
Clippers owner Steve Ballmer and head coach Doc Rivers released a statement saying, "For our team and organization, it is time to move forward, which begins today and ultimately concludes when we have Blake back on the court." Super Bowl 50 was the last official game of the NFL season on Sunday night. The games may be over, but for fans of the winning team, the season isn't over until their celebration parade is complete. Thousands of Broncos fans lined the downtown streets of Denver to rejoice their Super Bowl 50 win over the Carolina Panthers. The major question during the offseason will be whether or not future Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning will be under center for the Broncos next season. Manning's mother and father both told reporters after the game that they believe this could be Manning's last game. As for Peyton himself, he's enjoying the moment and has yet to set a timetable on his decision. The top-ranked Women of Troy golf team finished up the Northrop Grumman tournament today, looking to move into 5th place. However, USC was only able to bump up 1 spot over the course of the day, finishing 4th behind Florida, Alabama, and eventual winner Washington. USC fans can find consolation that the women of Troy edged out crosstown rival UCLA, who tied for 5th. Friday night, the men's basketball team returns to action when they go on the road to face Arizona and Arizona State. The Trojans are coming off of a sweep of crosstown rival UCLA and are looking to keep the momentum going headed into the desert.
I mean, we always go from game to game, so it depends what team are we playing, but we always try to play hard and play USC basketball. I mean, obviously we have the highest possible goals to win the Pac-12 tournament and go to NCAA and see where we end up.
USC has been led by strong defensive play and recent success beyond the arc. However, Coach Enfield has emphasized the need to take higher percentage shots. Tip-off against the Sun Devils is set for 7 p.m. Friday night. Earlier this year, USC beat the Wildcats 103-101 in a quadruple overtime thriller at the Galen Center. USC hopes to sweep Arizona for the first time since the 2007 season. Today marked the deadline for Rams fans to put down a deposit on season tickets, and Los Angeles residents responded in force. The Rams announced that over 56,000 fans put down a deposit on season tickets. However, it remains to be seen how how the seats will be allocated when the Rams play at the Los Angeles Coliseum next year. The Coliseum is expected to undergo several renovations before the start of the 2016 NFL season. Big weekend for sports, ladies. Either of you interested in Trojan women's basketball or All-Star Weekend?
I would totally go to the women's basketball game.
I've never been to one, so I might as well. I haven't been to a lot of USC things. I should really go.
Me and Scott Cook are getting our Girl Scout cookies, and we'll be there at 4 p.m. on Sunday.
Thanks, Ty. We'll have more from the results in New Hampshire when we come right back.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Thank you, dear. Well, you're very supple. Just like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Before we leave tonight, we'll check back in with our political reporter Max Schwartz with the latest from New Hampshire.
Thanks, Ivana, and we have updated numbers for you. On the Republican side, projected winner Donald Trump now leads John Kasich 34% to 15%. They're followed by Ted Cruz with 12%, Jeb Bush with 10%, and Chris Christie with 8%. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders is still the projected winner, 58 to 40%, but now 29 precincts are reporting. Back to you.
Guys, what do you think?
Elections are really heating up. I'm kind of nervous.
I know. Who are you guys rooting for?
USC over Arizona on Sunday.
Is that the only thing you care about?
That's why I'm
I
here.
actually
What
want
about-
to go to the game. I have never gone.
Me neither.
First time for everything. I know. I should get on that.
But no interest in the presidential race?
The only politics I get into are college athletics and NFL. I'm not interested.
I'm interested in the Girl Scout cookies you mentioned. Like,
Oh, what are your favorite Girl Scout
Scout
cookies?
season.
Samoas? No?
Oh, Samoas are great. I love coconut. What about you guys?
Any plans for the weekend?
Actually, I'm going to Idaho.
Are you?
That was very I apologize.
Idaho?
Yeah, I'm going to Idaho, Sun Valley.
Are you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, you have fun. Have a safe
I know. Thank you so much. Well,
Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Ivana Wynn.
and I'm Taylor Edgel. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.org. Good night.
Are you really going to